Welcome one, welcome all, welcome back to Building Stuff with Nova. Look, we've been doing this, y'all, all summer. And so I got to say welcome back because I know I got a sneaky suspicion that you've been here before. And if you haven't, welcome. Welcome to Building Stuff with Nova. This is your virtual makerspace, your ideation laboratory, your mastermind, a place where we hang out and we build together. I like to consider myself your personal companion. I'm Dr. Nehemiah Mabry. Maybe I'm your companion. Maybe I'm just the guy that comes in and asks for snacks. I don't know. At the end of the day, you and I are just building together. Some cases I'm your mentor. Other cases I'm your mentee. It just ultimately depends on what we're doing. And when it comes to what we're doing, escape rooms is a key word. That's right. Escape room is a key word because we have not only been bringing you a lot of great tours, a lot of great building in real life experiences, a lot of great gaming. Shout out to our building committee on Twitch. We also have been working towards this finale known as a virtual and real life escape room where we're going to have you, our virtual audience, as well as some real life participants participate. But let me slow down. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Again, welcome to Building Stuff with Nova. On this wonderful Thursday afternoon, we come to you every single day at 1 p.m. Eastern on Twitch. But today, we have a special addition to the building committee audience. Not only are we on Twitch, shout out to chat on Twitch, but we are on YouTube. So here's what I need you all to do. I need you to respond in the chat. Let me know who's here. I'm keeping an eye on the chat right now. Of course, we have our friends Nova here with us. Building Stuff with Nova is the name. It's apropos. But shout out to everybody. I see you over on YouTube. What's up, Hooves? We see you. Mary Ann. Shout out to Mary Ann. How are y'all doing? The Opal guy, the returning member of the community. Let me know how you all doing on this afternoon if you're in the same coast as yours truly. But maybe you're not. Maybe you're on the West Coast. Maybe you're in a different country. Wherever you are, whatever time of day it is, Opal guy, Caitlin, Michael, building committee on Twitch. Let me know how you're doing. Drop it in the chat. If you're so inclined, you can even use an image. You can use an emote. You can use an image or emoji to let me know how you're feeling. I'm feeling pretty good. I see future doctors over on Twitch lets us know that they are chilling like a villain. I hope that villain isn't one that needs to be reported, but I hope the chilling is indeed authentic. So shout out to you, future doctors. We see you. Hello, Michael. What's up, Edward? All the way over on YouTube, we see you. The Opal guy, that Opal guy says, I am awake but hurt. Oh man, getting old isn't fun. I could definitely relate to that. Again, continue to check in over on Twitch. Chat, y'all know how we do this. We need to know how you're feeling. As a matter of fact, if this is your first time, for those who are new to the community, this is a good time to hit the follow button on Twitch or the subscribe button on YouTube. We want to make sure that you are part of this journey, not only today, but in the days and weeks to come. Sounds good, y'all? Sounds good. Cool. Bet. All right, so let's talk about what we have for the agenda today. You all can see right here on my side that we're going to be having a brand new guest. That's right. Yesterday, we were not only on Twitch, but also on YouTube, where we brought to you some incredible creators. Kate and Mel did an awesome job sharing with us their experience doing props and doing creative projects, not only as makers in the digital space, but also in the entertainment industry. So if you didn't see that, make sure you go and check out that video on demand on Twitch, or that video that's right behind this one on the live YouTube tab on Nova. But today I'm excited because we got H-Town in the building. In case you didn't know what I just said, I said H-Town. I tried to say it like I hear my folks from Houston, Texas say it, because that's where our guest is coming to you live from today. We're going to introduce our guest, Karmisha, here in just a second. And then she's going to walk me through. She's an incredible person, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about her relevance to escape rooms. But she's going to walk me through the creation of this LED flower. And you got to stay tuned because it has awesome relevance to our overall arc of the escape room. And then, of course, we're going to get you cued in on what's not only to come tomorrow on Friday, but also what's to come for the remainder, or maybe next week. Let's say that. What's to come for the remainder of the summer. Does that sound good? Herself says hi. I love it. Mary Ann gave a nice laugh to that Opal guy. If everybody's ready for our guest, let me see you drop ready. If you haven't put anything in the chat, come off chat mute. Just type the word ready so that I can bring you to the next part of today's show. Put ready. We see Future Doctors is ready. I know that YouTube is ready. And so with that being said, I am going to now share my screen really quick so that you can see who we have for us today. That's right. You see it before you. Karmisha Reeb. Karmisha is a 21-year-old military veteran turned immersive experience designer. She taught herself how to program Arduinos during a deployment to the Middle East. Man, talk about multitasking. That's crazy. After leaving the service with the rank of first lieutenant, Karmisha returned from deployment and opened her first escape room 6 months later. She is now pursuing a PhD. That's right. She's pursuing a PhD in immersive design for STEM education. For those who have been a part of the building committee, Outbound, we see you Outbound over there on Twitch. Now you can kind of already know why this is a perfect guest for this channel, Building Stuff with Nova, because of the escape room and the experience of immersive design for STEM education. So do me a favor, y'all. YouTube, drop some emojis, drop some fire, drop some flame. How about some hand clap of a round of applause, if you would, Twitch chat. Go ahead and let's welcome, as we at this particular time present to some and introduce to others, our guest for today, none other than 21-year military veteran and escape room expert, Miss Karmisha Reeb. There it is, Karmisha. She's waving. She's excited. Y'all drop the love. I see it coming in. Thank y'all so much. Karmisha, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh man, I'm fantastic to have you here. Joining us live from H-Time. Did you hear that reference when I was talking about you?
I did hear it. Great effort. Great effort.
Great effort. Okay, cool. That means I didn't quite hit it, chat. I didn't quite hit it, but you know, I just want to make sure our guest feels at home. You joining us live from Houston, right? Houston, Texas?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And I see the shirt there. That's why I kind of got the clue when you logged on from the Escape Lab, Houston. Again, show some love to Karmisha. Karmisha, first of all, let me say this. Thank you for your service. 21 years in the military. Like that is phenomenal. Thank you for, the commitment in the service to our country.
Thank you for your support. I'm a third generation Air Force veteran, so it was kind of in the blood. It was always going to happen.
Wow. So you had a parent in the Air Force and then a grandparent in the Air Force.
Yes. My dad was an airman. He was enlisted. My grandfather was in the Army Air Corps before the Army and the Air Force even split up. So a long history in our family of service.
Absolutely. If there's any U.S. citizens, of course, whether you're far or near, we want to show some love to Karmisha and all of our servicemen and women, those who serve to fight on behalf of our country. And I made a little comment, Karmisha, in my introduction of you. I said, man, talk about multitasking, because during your deployment to the Middle East, you taught yourself how to program. Please paint the picture first. Like that's a lot in that line, right? Because I'm still trying to teach myself how to program, and I'm definitely not in the Middle East or anything like that close to a deployment. But can you please tell us and paint the picture of how you were, again, serving in the service, but then began to teach yourself how to code?
Absolutely. So I was an intelligence officer when I was in the military, and I got called to deploy. And the story begins just a little before that deployment. The Air Force sent us all to pre-deployment training so our little group, our cohort, if you will, could meet each other. And an escape room was a team building activity there. And I had never done an escape room before, so I didn't really have any sort of expectations whatsoever. Yeah. But I got in there and it was the most fun thing ever. Wow. I love puzzles. It felt like a giant craft project in there. And of course, me, hubris, I was like, oh, I could definitely do this.
Easy.
Easy peasy. Turns out I was wrong. We'll get to that later.
Okay.
It was much harder than I thought. But I just sort of decided during pre-deployment training, like, oh, wow, I want to do more escape rooms. I just want to play more escape rooms. And I deployed, escape rooms were still on my brain. And I just decided, like, I think this will be my second act. I was already wrapping up my military career. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I thought I'd stick with government service.
Mm-hmm.
But then I just decided, like, no, I want to be in the business of fun. That seemed like such a 180 from what I was doing in the
Right.
military. Yeah, and so usually in deployments, you work really long hours, and the rest of the time is filled with going to the gym, eating, and sleeping. So I decided I didn't need the gym in my life. I could use that time
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
instead to learn Arduino. And it was so much fun. And all my coworkers were always willing to, press my one button and watch the one LED light up. And they
Yeah.
hyped me up. It was very encouraging. And yeah, that's how it started. I taught myself. I got to a good enough, I think, knowledge base that by the time I got home, I was like, let's do this. Let's just give it a go
Right.
and see what happens. And it worked out. I opened my first escape room in Monterey, California,
This was
like you
after
said.
you. This was after you left the service in California, or were you still okay? Okay. Okay. Sorry.
I was still in the service.
Wow. Again, multitasking at its highest form, right? But go ahead. Go ahead.
I was working evenings and weekends. I
Okay.
wasn't sleeping. I had two
Man.
kids. I was bringing them to the escape room. We were doing family dinners in the
Wow.
escape room. And thank goodness I had a really supportive boss.
Right.
Um,
Important.
and
Very important. But again,
oh,
like
sir.
you were doing this again. You taught yourself how to code while you're in the Middle East, but then when you came back home to the States, if you will, you were in California, and you said, "All right, we're about to make this thing like the actual brick and mortar experience here on the homeland."
Yes, and it was a huge undertaking. I definitely underestimated how much amazing work all the existing escape room owners had put into their business.
Yeah.
But I learned quickly, and there's a supportive community online, and so many people were pouring into me advice, expertise, and they really helped me get going. And if I could shout out one owner, it's Brittany Coleman at Hour to Exit Escape Room. She's in New
Brittany.
Rochelle. Brittany, she's my hero, now my business bestie, my mentor, really helped me get my business going.
I love it. I love it. Shout out to Brittany. And as you have mentioned, your hero, you are already shaping up to be our hero here on Building Stuff with Noah, because not only your service to our country, but your experience in the escape room. I want to turn to chat really quick. Everybody, of course, earlier said, thank you for your service. Marianne says, we got Michael with the American flags. Yes, everybody have been happy. Everyone has been excited, both on YouTube and Twitch. We see you chat, sharing this with their community. A lot of people are saying, man, once you do an escape room, you either love it or hate it, right? Like people's like, man, your first experience really, really shapes your experience. And so I do want to say, like, for you to have experiences as a team building exercise, and then to your point, you said it wasn't, you didn't do as well as you thought, but whatever happened caused you to really dive head first into it. Can you talk about not only, again, a little bit more of that first experience, but also what you've come to understand to be maybe commonalities for a lot of people's first experience in an escape room?
Yes, for sure. So my first escape room, I don't remember the name, but we're in North Carolina, and it was a Russian spy game.
Oh.
And the thing that felt accessible to me as a future designer was it was a fun game, but filled with more like IKEA furniture and maybe thrifted furniture.
Yeah.
So you have to keep in mind that was also in 2017,
Mm-hmm.
and technology and the escape room craft has come along so far since that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, the game in terms of immersion, it wasn't super immersive. But what really resonated with me was the communication. We weren't playing just our group. There was like a bachelorette party. So we had to
Oh.
learn super fast how to communicate with these ladies who might have had some drinks before they started. And still, we were able to do all of that so quickly, learn their communication style, kind of identify their strengths and weaknesses as well as our own.
Mm-hmm.
And it was magic. We just came together as a team. We did lose. We didn't crush the game. Uh,
You
and
win
so
some,
for
you
me,
lose some. You win some, you lose some.
yeah, absolutely. And I know maybe some people in the chat have some experiences with some escape rooms that maybe weren't super immersive or the puzzles weren't super great.
Right.
But for me, the magic is always with the people that I'm with. the escape room could just be a box, but if I'm having a blast with my friends and
Yes.
just laughing and confused and
Yes.
placing blame, to me, I could do
You
that all
said
day,
placing
every day.
blame. you
Did
got
I say that?
you got
Did
to
I
have
say
other
that?
people to point to.
Yeah, absolutely. I am never the problem.
Never is it Karmisha. And you all keep that in mind because we're going to get into a little bit more of what this project is all about. And again, thank you, Mike V, for sharing and tweeting this out. Thank everybody for your emotes. Continue to show some love. We will pause and take a few questions, but we are with um, a, a veteran who is also an escape room expert designer and who is also a PhD student. So get your questions coming. Now, in case you didn't hear this, Karmisha, and I'm going to explain to you again, this entire Twitch channel that we've been doing every day, that's right, YouTube folks, we've been doing this on Twitch every single day at 1 p.m. Eastern. But in this community that everyone watching is a part of, we have been doing a number of things around engineering. We've been doing some commentary on like some Nova films. We've talked about bridges. We've played a few games such as like rocket science games and space exploration. We've built a few bridges. We've done some actual lab tours. Last week we were in Boston. We went to MIT, Cambridge to be exact, one of their fusion centers and plasma science and fusion center. We've done a number of things, right? But what we have been doing also every week is putting our brains together, our ideation together, and coming up with what will be a 4-day engineering themed escape room. That's right. We're coming into your world and we're merging it with engineering, right? And we want this to be something that you continue to say that I think was pretty dope. It was immersive. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make this immersive. And so if we can, shout out to everybody on Twitch. Shout out to our family. Artsy Chickadee, we see you. You all make sure you keep your chat coming so I can notice you're there. We see you might be. When it comes to immersive experiences, that is what you're studying, right? Immersive design for STEM education. Can you explain, what that means, and then give us a few examples of experiences, whether it be escape rooms or not, other experiences that are truly immersive, so we can take notes. Is that cool?
Absolutely. I love to talk about my research, actually, as also students do, I'm sure. So when I'm talking about immersive design for STEM education, I'm looking at using escape rooms as a platform for learning.
Okay.
The term you might find it under most commonly is embodied learning. So there
Embodied
is,
learning. Okay.
formerly, I think we all went to school when we were younger, and teachers were like the sage on the stage, right? They're in
Right.
front of the classroom, they're delivering information sort of one way. And then as things advanced, as research advanced, maybe they became the guide on the side, offering tips and hints, but maybe learning was more self-directed. And
Yeah.
I just feel like immersive design in education is the next evolution in which students are placed in situations in which they not only learn information, but apply that same information in situations in order
Mm-hmm.
to solve problems and ultimately retain that information. And it's been found that students retain information longer when it is an embodied learning experience versus lecture or PowerPoint,
Right.
things like that. And so yeah, that's what I'm studying. Escape rooms are heavily used in medical education, and I just haven't seen so many for STEM, and I love STEM, so that's what I chose to be my focus.
Yes, we love STEM as well. Shout out to everybody in the chat. By the way, Karmisha, don't think I missed those bars. I don't know if those were original bars or whatever. Some teachers are the sage on the stage versus the guide on the side. I love that. I caught that too. But basically, immersive embodied learning is more leaning towards, again, the guide on the side, which is what these experiences are all about, right? Yeah. Have you seen something like that in I guess more entertainment in theater or anything like that?
I don't think that I have seen much of it in theater. I have seen some really cool escape rooms that, while they didn't have a STEM focus, ambiguously, it was like a spacecraft, right?
Okay.
And you would ask for examples earlier, and maybe an example is that you need to connect certain wires into certain ports,
Right.
and if the wire is in the wrong port, you get some smoke behind you, or if
Yeah,
it's in the
yeah.
right port, you can hear the engine power up. And it's all these things. We don't need to beat you over the head with STEM, but as you go back after the game and talk, which everyone talks about their escape room when they're
Everybody.
done.
Yep. Or
Yeah,
they
you should
argue.
take
Or they argue.
they do. They place blame,
Place
maybe.
blame.
But in that discussion, there's learning, there's
Right.
reviewing of information, and they realize, like, wow, we were actually doing science. That's not what we set out to do. We set out to play a game, but we learned some stuff too. So right now, not a ton of STEM focused escape rooms, but I hope to change that with my research and my practice here at Exit Lab.
And with your presence here on Building Stuff with Nova, you're changing it as we speak. That's sort of meta, right? And chat, I need y'all to know we got something pretty cool coming, because you just mentioned about putting wires and stuff, and you sent me something pretty cool. I'm gonna pull on the screen just a little bit, but as I'm getting ready to change and set that up, talk about Exit Lab again, like the whole business thing, because you started something in California. How do you get to Houston, and now what is Exit Lab? What's the current iteration of your business in escape rooms?
So my first escape room was called Mission 57. Mission, because obviously my military background, and I literally just asked my kids what were their favorite numbers. They said 5 and 7. That was my business name.
Yeah.
And I got that business started 2018 summer. And as you know, the pandemic happened. We had a hard shutdown in California. And so while owners in other places were able to access their businesses and make updates and work on new games, I had no access to my building at all. So I had to make the painful decision to go ahead and close down. And I decided to relocate to Texas.
Okay.
But it turned out to be a blessing, because as I was moving, I was always checking websites to see if there were any escape rooms coming up for sale. And I found one in Houston. So it was originally, it had a different name, but I renamed it, rebranded to Exit Lab because I didn't want to just build escape rooms. Escape rooms to me are communication. I don't know, communication labs disguised as a game.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to have a name that really resonated with my desire to test and challenge people's communication skills. And yeah, we've been doing great ever since. That was 3 years ago now. Time is flying.
That's crazy, because you're in a PhD program. You end up starting a PhD program in that time span at Northeastern. Is that where you are?
Yes, I'm in Northeastern in Boston.
Boston, like our friends at Nova. Shout out to Nova.
Yeah, it's Cambridge too. I actually live in Cambridge.
Oh,
but
okay.
When I started the business, it was already being managed remotely. So there was never, like, the infrastructure was already in place for the business to continue to thrive without me. And so I took advantage of the opportunity to go study escape rooms professionally and in depth. And it's been great so far.
I love it. You made your passion, your career, your business, and your soon-to-be doctoral degree. So I love it. That's pretty dope. Y'all show some love in the chat. Kajo says, fellow Northeastern student, undergrad though. We got an undergrad Northeastern student in the chat over on Twitch. A Clockwork, our fair city, another Bostonian. I think that's how I should say it. Another Bostonian. You mentioned North Carolina earlier too. That's where I'm at right now. I'm in North Carolina. You probably were. So, you know, we were the first in flight or first in escape room for your journey. There you go. I'll put it like that. You know, North Carolina. Also, Mike V over on YouTube is in Boston as well at the Museum of Science. A great place for STEM folks. I love it. This is fantastic. And y'all, check this out, chat. I'm about to switch screens here. Let me know if you can see my hands here a little bit. I'm gonna go overhead cam with it. Can you see this, Karmisha? Can you see this? Chat, can y'all see this? Y'all see my hands?
Looks very cool. I don't know what it is.
I got this from I got this from a very cool individual who just happens to be on screen with me across the way over here. I don't know if y'all can see Karmisha over there on the other side, but how I have my overhead camera here, I'm gonna bring a little extra light. I don't know if that light that's a little too harsh. But Karmisha, you sent this to me because you said we're gonna do a little bit, and I want you to know I have not even opened this at all. As you can see, this is what is this? Tell the people what this is as I prepare to unbox it live on the air.
Okay. It's something that I created that I'm calling the electric flower. It's a small piece of what I hope to be later on an immersive escape room and maybe an immersive theater experience. But
Uh-huh.
um, we're starting here with our electric flower. And this is a kit for adults and children just to get some experience, to get exposed to making their very first simple circuit. And
Okay.
so we can go ahead and open it up
I'm
and take
opening
a
it.
look.
Okay. Should I just dump it out
Yeah,
or should I? Cause
check it all out.
okay.
And
Let me
I
take
will
my
go
time.
over what you can see in there. So that's the LED.
So we got the
We don't know what
LEDs,
color it is yet.
two lights, two
Yeah,
LED lights.
LEDs. I gave you some extra parts. We're only going to be needing one for this little project,
Okay,
but
okay.
two LEDs. What else do you have in there?
I have some crayons. Uh-oh.
Yes, crayons. So people think, oh, there's crayons in this kit. It must be for kids. But no, I do these kits with adults at conferences all the time, and they love the crayons. It's just a little art moment to take a break from the craziness of the
Yeah.
day. People, so we
We like
have 4 crayons.
we like art here on the channel. We like art here on the channel. And then I have this some green tape. This it's did you pre-cut the tape? Did you pre-cut my tape, Karmisha?
I did. I have
Okay.
it ready for you. Okay,
Okay,
you feel
okay.
it on. That's just electrical tape, you guys. I think it's 1/2 inch, nothing special. You could use any color, but because we're making a flower, I decided to go with green.
You went
And
green.
we've got a little battery, a CR2032. Super easy to find on Amazon. That's going to
Okay.
power our LED.
Then we got some flour.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's going to be the base of our electric flower. Again, this is great for people of all ages just to get exposure, to make a working circuit and see, like, okay, if we build this, we can get some lights going. And that's just always fun. It's great for classroom settings. You can do it at home with family, friends, children, everything. Just a really flexible kit, if I do say so myself.
Okay, okay. I want to make sure I don't lose anything. Thank you for thinking for me to bring some extra parts into this kit. Now, chat. I want to say something to chat really quick. YouTube, Twitch, chat. Collectively, our building committee. That's our name until further notice. I want you all to know that I see your questions as it relates to our business, and we are going to come back to those questions as it relates to our business. Will, so hang on. Right now, she's about to be my guide on the side. Right, not just the sage on the stage as we've been doing in our interview so far. And you have your own kit. What you too, right?
I do. I have
Okay.
everything here as well,
Boom.
and so we'll do it together.
Do you have the exact same one? Because my flower looks a little different. Yours has some nice little. You got a pointy ends. And I got the curvy end.
A lotus or a ninja star. I don't know. It could be anything.
Ninja star. Okay. All right. Okay. Cool. We'll come back. All right. So what should I do first? What do I do first?
I think we should start with crayons. We want to decorate our flower.
Okay.
Something to keep in mind while Dr. Nee is coloring his flower. This is just regular mixed media paper that I use for these flowers. You could use copy paper. Any paper really will do. I just like mixed media or watercolor because it's just a little more sturdy. Also, I have done this with my own kids, and my son was not into the flower, so he made a face, and instead of the LED being in the middle of the flower, it was like the robot eye. So we had one glowing eye, and I just shared that so you guys know that we don't have to stick with the flower shape. It could be anything.
Could be anything.
I believe. Yeah,
Okay.
my daughter made an orange, and it just had a little LED by the leaf. So the sky's the limit. All you need is a hole to stick your LED in.
So I'm an engineer by trade. I don't know if I mentioned that. I'm an engineer by trade, and I like to think of myself as creative, right? Chat. I don't know if chat agrees or not. They've been hanging out with me for a while. But one of the things that I feel like in the engineering design process is we have to be mindful of our constraints, right? And we bring this up a lot, but like we want to ask the question, what are we trying to do? Then we kind of brainstorm solutions. But when we're also doing this, we're saying, okay, we have to work within this budget, or we have to work within this time frame, or we have to work within, other types of constraints that sort of shape what we're doing. What can you share about sort of that whole process as it relates to, what we're doing now and the work that you're studying.
Absolutely. So my constraints with the digital or the electric flower were really price and simplicity. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted this to be a simple project that parents who themselves may not be super comfortable with STEM topics
Mm-hmm.
would be able to walk their young children through. So I really had to condense everything down to its simplest parts
Right.
and also have it fit into a small packaging that again doesn't feel too overwhelming, that's easy to distribute to schools or libraries. Yeah, so that's the constraints with something as small as the escape room, or excuse me, with the electric flower. My mind's already got
The
forward to the
small
escape
escape
room.
room right here. I don't know if y'all can see.
Yes.
I don't know if y'all can see what I got going on here. I know my camera keeps getting out of focus, but I tried to mix it up a little bit and get around, get the
Okay. Okay.
each of the pedals a little different. Let me see yours real quick. Hold yours up. I'm gonna make sure people can see you a little bigger.
Okay. Now I feel under pressure. I just made mine red. I'm gonna add some more colors. I was chatting. I didn't.
Was that a signing blame? I'm making her a little bigger, y'all. So, cause she's the guide on the side here, but I'm gonna make her screen a little bigger here. But that sounds like you assigning blame. I'm gonna be honest. Like I feel like you just kind of assign blame because your art isn't turning out as dope as mine. Is that what's going on, chat? Did y'all hear that?
A little bit. Oh my goodness.
A little bit.
Yes. But there's always constraints with everything we're working with, right?
Yeah.
Another benefit of this electric flower kit is that the components are all super cheap. The unfortunate part is that you kind of need to buy things in bulk. The smallest quantity of these batteries you can get is usually like 5 or 10.
These
But
batteries.
altogether, each digital flower maybe costs $1.50. So it's really cheap and really accessible. And as we expand to larger escape rooms,
Mm-hmm.
dealing with budgets there as well, right? Unfortunately, I don't have unlimited funds, so I'm always thinking of, okay, what can I buy versus what can I make?
Right.
And as I'm making puzzles, I'm thinking my constraints are, well, how many players are going to be in this room? If there's only 2 players in this game,
Mm-hmm.
then the puzzle needs to be doable with just 2 players.
Right.
And a key example is there are some human circuit puzzles where someone touches one wall and they have to hold hands with the other player who's touching the opposite wall, and they
Oh,
complete the circuit just by
yes.
holding, right? And you just have to keep in mind, well, what if there are only 2 people, but the walls are too far apart? Two people
Right. Like
can't complete
everyone's
that
arm's
circuit.
not that long, right? Like you got to figure that out.
Exactly. So there's always 1,000 things to take into consideration
Yep.
as you're designing puzzles and escape rooms as a whole. But to me, that's the fun part. That's my own little puzzle that I get to work on as a designer.
Puzzles and creating puzzles. Puzzles and puzzles. I love it. I love it. I love it. We getting some compliments. I see the compliments. Thank y'all so much. Shout out to our building community members on Twitch chat. We see you. The Weighted Life. Shout out to my friend. Shout out to Clockwork. Those are some nice flowers they said to us. Yes. RC earlier, RC Chickadee, another person who hangs out with us a lot. YouTube family. Y'all got to get over on Twitch. We love you on YouTube. We're going to continue to stream here, but Twitch is where we're continuing to build and ideate on a regular basis. But RC said to you, Karmisha, that they are also a PhD student. I believe they've shared with us in past streams that they're working in the educational space, and that according to RC, your research might overlap a little bit.
Oh, okay. Well, send me a message. You can visit my website at Exit Lab Houston. There's a contact form. I would love to connect and talk about this, as well as anyone who might be interested in these kits. I have about 10 that I can ship to the US.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely free to you. So I invite you, if you'd like to make your own electric flower, and if you can act quickly.
Listen, we already had a question about it. I know they're not currently for sale. Thank you for Nova for putting that out. But yeah, that was, there you go. The Opal guy said they think they had one of these kits. So hey, you might want another one. She just put out I don't know. I don't want to blow up your inbox, but this is pretty dope. What do we do? What do we do next though on the kit though? Because I think I got my color looking pretty nice.
All right. Here's mine. I
Oh,
try to
come
use all
on.
the.
Listen, you didn't have to do me like that, though, Karmisha. Karmisha, like,
Am I the next Van Gogh? I don't know.
listen, you
Maybe.
didn't have to do me like that. I thought mine was pretty dope. And then all of a sudden you assigned Blaine and you came out with a vengeance there. Um, See, that's
Escape room people very competitive. I can't help it.
escape room competition happening right before your eyes. Okay, so what do I do next? So I got this little.
Okay, next we want to get our LED. And I want to just tell everybody, probably some people already know this, but an LED has two little legs, one that's longer and one that's shorter.
Oh,
The long one is called anode, and the short one is called cathode. And to remember this, I just say the anode is positively longer than the cathode.
positively
And that's
longer.
my little positively longer, because when we connect our battery, we're going to want to connect the positive side of the battery to the anode. So the anode is positively
Positive.
longer.
The anode and the cathode. So quick Easter egg. You just dropped the Easter egg from our tour of MIT's Plasma Science and Fusion Center. They showed us the first demonstration of a linear like plasma tube, and that was made through basically they had a anode and a cathode like creating sort of a current, and that's how they were able to produce that plasma there. But for those who didn't see that, chat, go ahead and check that out. That is from last Friday, by the way. So I love how engineering and all this STEM is basically creating a lot of Easter eggs to all of our streams. You know, it's all interwoven, right? For sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
So we're going to grab our LED and we're going to stick it through the center of our flowers.
Okay.
So we'll have the LED in the front with the pretty colors and the legs poking out of the back.
Boom, boom.
And then we're going to grab our little battery, our CR2032. Right. And if you take a look at it, there is a plus side on one side, and that's the positive side. So pop quiz, no pressure.
Okay.
Which leg are we going to press up against this positive side of the battery?
Okay. So the positive side is this top side right here, right, with the plus sign?
Mm-hmm.
And we know that the one side is positively longer than the other side. Therefore, the positively longer side is the side we're going to press against the positive side of the battery. Am I right?
There you go.
Let's
Correct.
go.
Ding, ding.
Let's go, chat.
So we're just going to stick it in between the legs of the LED, and even just holding it with your fingers.
But I'm trying.
That LED.
How did you stick it in there, though? I was trying to see how did you like.
It just clips sort of in there because
through the middle, like this.
Yeah, right through the middle.
Oh, so you're gonna have y'all see that?
Side and then the negative side. What color did you get? I have a red.
I got red. I think you copied off.
Oh,
of me.
you're red too.
Yeah, you're copying off of me. Y'all see that? Chat, y'all see that? Let me come up here and go. I'm gonna see if I can show y'all on the 2-person view. Boom! Look at that. Bling bling.
Okay. Yes. And now, because we can't and don't want to hold this down forever with our hands, we're going to snuggle that battery up as far as we can. And we're going to take our little electrical tape and we're just going to wrap it around the legs and the battery.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? If I put in another LED, this is just me freestyling here. Would it interfere some kind of way? Like, would it, can I try that? Or would it blow up in my hand or something?
Like all good scientists I know, we love a little experimentation.
A little experimentation. So, check. Can we experiment?
You should. I invite you to find out the answer yourself.
Yes, especially since I got red, and you had red, and I kind of want to one up you just a little bit, in front of everybody. I definitely want to do that if I'm honest. Wow. Okay, we're coming through here. I think that was a yellow, red and yellow. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So the red and yellow. Oh, let me come back to my overhead cam here. You all gonna see this. Before we get the electrical tape out, we're gonna see if we can do. I don't know why I volunteered to experiment like this though, because chat knows, our OGs know, I don't have the most steadiest hands, Karmisha. So
okay, you're nervous. I'm such an expert. I do that to people. It's okay. Just
breathe. Is that what it is? Oh yeah, the nerves. Listen, let me tell you something. At the end of the day. You're not going to assign blame to me and get away with it. Here we go. Let's go. Wait, did I go?
Okay.
I have it. But it didn't. My team is probably looking at me like, Nee, why did you freestyle a new design on the stream with everybody watching? And you know what? Because I'm an engineer and we try things like this sometimes. All right, here we go. Here we go. Almost there. Almost there.
Almost there. Let's see. We got to make sure we have the anode and the
The anode.
cathode.
So there's the yellow. I got the yellow on there. It's just the red that's kind of popping off. But nevertheless, positively on the positive side, the positively longer on the positive side. See, you taught me something. And the shorter side is going to be by default the negative side, right?
Yes.
That's what we're doing. Okay, so what are we doing with the tape as I continue to position this? What are we doing with the tape?
Absolutely. We're just wrapping the tape around the battery and the legs so we can take our fingers off of it. This is not a science, it's an art. There's no special way, just taping the LED down to the battery.
Yeah. And then I have 2 pieces of tape here. You gave me 2 pieces of tape. Is it because I need 2 pieces or just for backup?
Extra, because I knew you had shaky hands. I didn't know if it was.
You know what? Listen, let me tell you something. You know, sometimes shaking hands makes the art turn out a lot better. You know, I found that in my life. You know, the differences that we all have, we bring uniquenesses to the table. And my shaking hands is going to make a nice little LED flower. I need some love in the chat if y'all agree. Y'all gotta have my side chat since we've been in this together for a while. This is dope. You created this to again create sort of more of a STEM learning experience. What are some of the lessons you teach besides, I guess, obviously sort of the electrical aspects of the LED and everything?
I think what this also can teach is that STEM can be accessible. Plasma tubes, super cool. Giant robots, robot dogs, super cool, but it could be as small as a simple LED flower.
Yes.
I think people think, oh, I'm not a scientist, I can't do STEM, but this is literally STEM.
Yes,
you can be a gamer, STEM, a singer, a ballerina. You can put this on your headband as you perform, and now you are a STEM focused ballerina. Okay. That is the lesson that I hope to communicate.
So Karmisha, I'm glad you said that. And chat, keep your questions coming. I'm about to circle back to them in a little bit. But there was like a STEM, there have been like STEM fashion shows. I don't know if you come across any of those, but like people, like wearing different dresses and different designs that are like based on STEM concepts, where they have little motors. And shout out to our friends who are participated in one recently. Like they have little motors and little different like ways to express themselves in STEM through their fashion outfits.
Absolutely. And I love it all. Instagram is a great resource for that. Just seeing STEM fashion. I've seen some ladies make bodices out of 3D printed materials.
Yeah.
I have a really great friend, Aisha Liftar. She's on Instagram, and she is always adding LED strips and strands to dresses or events that she's going out to. And sometimes the colors even change based on her motion. So it's completely wide open. This is just step one of everyone's longer journey to, like you get one LED, but now you're wondering,
now I got 2 LEDs. How you like me now?
And I have a magnet. So now I know that if I find something metal, I can stick my LED flower on that.
Yeah.
I have a little stick here that I can also tape to my flower. Let's hope that stays together. And now I've got like a little wonky pinwheel action. Hold on.
Karmisha, you didn't send me a stick. Do you have the deluxe version of the kit? Like, what do we?
This is the gold pack.
This is the gold. Okay, all right, y'all. She sent me the normal kit, and so I tried to one up her with 2 LEDs here, and she pulled out the stick. So listen, we're not gonna hold against you, but I love it. You can have the pinwheels and everything, right?
Yes. And so ultimately, I have this idea for an immersive theater show in which there is a garden and there's a bunch of these electric flowers, but there's a bad guy who's stealing all of the light from each of the flowers. And so in the middle of the show, families will be invited to create their own flowers so they can plant them back in the garden and restore light. And
Wow.
now we've had some family time, we've had some STEM education, and we've also had some entertainment, watching the bad guys stalk around our garden and steal the light. So again, this is just a jumping off point for so much more that everyone can do with STEM.
I love it. I love it. Y'all show some love. I'm gonna go through some questions, and on the other side of these questions in the chat, Karmisha, I'm gonna share with you what we're thinking about as it relates to our 4-day engineering escape room, and just get some of your preliminary thoughts on it. But let's see. There was a question earlier. Let's see. A Clockwork said, Nova's, thank you. Shout out to Nova, who's helping us fill some of the questions. But someone asked about like franchising your business. Like, do you have any plans to do that later on? Any thoughts like that as it relates to the escape room?
That's so interesting. Thank you for asking that. I think personally, I'm not looking to franchise the escape room itself, but one of the sort of branches of my research will be to create escape room cases.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm definitely interested in franchising those out just because I want to expand the reach of those cases beyond Houston. You know, I'd love if there are people, owners in New York City or California, Oklahoma, Tennessee, you know, anywhere. I just want to get these escape room boxes into the hands of people so that they could still have a little STEMmy / escape room experience at home. So
Yeah. That actually relates to what I think one of our users on Twitch again said. Are they making mobile escape room kits? Like, that's a game changer. Is that basically what that is? Like a mobile kit where people can create?
that is exactly what that would be. It would be based on a Pelican hard case with escape room puzzles and some electronics inside that
Mm-hmm.
kind of like I'm thinking blockbuster model. I'm gonna walk in, see which escape room I want to take home and grab my case, take it
What?
home for the weekend, come back and return it and hopefully check out another one. So that's what we're working towards here at Exit Lab.
Chat, y'all got to keep an eye out for that. You heard it here first on Building Stuff with Nova. I see my family and our friends over on YouTube. Shout out to Mike V again, co-signing my experimentation. That is absolutely what Lewis Latimer has done and did in his lifetime. Afrofuturist fashion, dope genre. I recommend y'all check that out. Let's see. We have a few other things. A lot of people were putting little emotes. Y'all feel free to drop emotes. As a matter of fact, if you are quiet and you're watching this, just drop something. Show some love to Karmisha. We have a special guest here today. We would love to hear from you. Like Artsy Chickadee did on Twitch. For science. It's all for science, for STEM. Let's see. Check them out. Yes. So again, if y'all have any other questions, I am about to, at this point though, chat, share with Karmisha the overall theme we have in mind for our escape room, our 4-day escape room, as I come here to our new layout. And those who've been following us for a while, again, if you haven't been on Twitch, you're missing out the real nuts and bolts of all this. But every week we have friends that we also bring on from a company called Trapology Boston, and we've been working with them to develop our 4-day engineering escape room. We want to integrate different concepts like you're familiar with, STEM concept, but more specifically engineering concepts, structural and mechanical engineering, energy in the environment, aerospace engineering, computer and electrical engineering. I see it. By the way, nice little fashion there. I saw it. But here's our theme though, Karmisha. Can you see what we have on the screen? We have Y3K. Y3K. That's what we're dealing with, right? And in our setting, our narrative is the year of 2,999. And they have 4 days, our participants that we're going to have in real life. Chat, we're still going to figure out how we're going to cast. You might have an opportunity to throw your name in the hat. But we're going to have four plus or minus, I don't know, number of people come in person. And then we're going to have our audience on Twitch interact to get out of this 4-day escape room where the goal is to retrain the algorithm. Now, we know AI is really a hot thing right now, but by the year of 2,999, we are super dependent upon it, Karmisha. And we realized that if we don't retrain the algorithm for the year 3000, we will lose a lot of the engineering knowledge that we've accumulated that was also built up. So because we made an issue like we did in Y2K, we didn't fail safe it. So with that being said, we're going to look at ways, as I already said, this is just a quick little high level review of some of our first day being more structural, mechanical engineering related. Our second day being more electrical and computer puzzles. That's what we're thinking on our second day. Our third day, we're going to get into like energy and the environment. You see a lot of cool things. And chat have seen this before because we've streamed this. And we do this with everybody in chat. And then we get back deeper into like aerospace and aeronautics puzzles. Let me get a little bit of your high level thought really quick. I'm going to go to a brand new page. As you just hear, what year Y3K? And maybe we can just live for just a few minutes, vibe. What are some of the things you think about as it relates to, again, all of those constraints, engineering, the narrative of Y3K, and escape room puzzles? Y'all, we're taking this opportunity to have Karmisha on to get her thoughts now. What comes to mind, Karmisha? Just right, what would be your design process, at least you naturally think through as it relates to this?
Yeah. When it comes to my design process, theme is always number one. So I love that we already have the theme Y3K. Next, I start thinking about game flow and puzzle flow. I think that's not always maybe taken into consideration as much as it could be.
Okay.
And I will just explain that a little for the viewers. I'm thinking about the sequencing of the puzzles. For example, when someone comes into one of our escape rooms, I don't want them struggling to solve a hard puzzle for the first 10 minutes. So I want them to have an easy win, a quick win that they can figure out right in the beginning. So you feel like, oh, I can do it. You can't because I've made it really hard. But at the beginning, you think you can.
You want to bait them in with the easy win out the gate. Okay, got you.
And so as I'm thinking about puzzles, I think, okay, well, where is this going to sit? Is it going to be the first puzzle they do? I want it to be easier. If it's going to be the last puzzle they do, I want it to be harder, maybe the hardest, depending on what I'm going with. So that's always important, the sequence of the puzzles.
Is it always linear? Does it like easy to hard? Is it always direct like that? Or do you like sometimes throw in some other easy wins so that like after a hard one to like not crush everyone's hopes?
Yes, generally the beginning of my games and my design starts out linear. I want the whole team to get the win. And that's something I'm looking at too. There are two kinds of escape room flows. I won't say only two, but the most popular categories, linear and non-linear. And linear is just like that. Finish puzzle A, move on to B. Finish puzzle B, move on to C. That would be linear. And the other category is non-linear. And that's where you might do puzzle A together, but in puzzle A, you get two items. One item sends you down this path. Another item sends you down that path of puzzles. So your team can sort of break up and attack each path simultaneously so that in the end of the 60 minutes, you come back together, hopefully declare victory. And people typically like non-linear games, but right now I've given myself this 30-day escape room challenge where I'm building an escape room from scratch to launch in 30 days. And it's going to be a game for couples. I'm targeting date nights. And so while non-linear is really dynamic and a lot is going on, I'm choosing a linear category of puzzles and flow so that this couple can stay together. I don't want them to high five at the beginning, go off on their separate paths, right? And then come back together at the end of the hour like, oh, what did you do? What did you do?
You don't want anybody assigning blame for messing up their relationship, basically, at the end of the day.
Exactly. Like, I did what I was supposed to do. What were you doing over there? So with the linear game and a smaller audience, the team can stay together. And that's something that I'm always taking into consideration in my process too. How many people is this game designed for? If I have a 10-person game, we have a zombie bunker. That game can hold 12 people. And no, we wouldn't want those 12 people trying to move together throughout this space. But because it's non-linear, they can separate, and we have one contingent doing this, one contingent doing this other path, and even a third group can be working on something else. So something for you future or current game designers out there, just to keep in mind who will be playing the game.
So I had to put the picture. I hope y'all are hearing this. This is some brilliant ideas that we're definitely going to incorporate. But it sounds to me that you have a little bit of like in the design of an escape room chat. Y'all let me know if y'all heard the same thing. You have the opportunity to bring people closer together, designing on how you design, depending on how you design it, versus like having people feel like they're at odds like through the entire time. That sounds like a. I don't know. It sounds like, again, we said this to Mike. Shout out to Mike Trapology. It sounds like you're the person that's in the chair that turns around with the cat and say, "You've made it. You passed our test." Like a little bit of a. I don't want to use the word manipulation. That sounds harsh, but in some ways, you're manipulating the experience, right?
I'm creating an experience to get the most out of it for the
Boom.
people that I'm creating it for sure. So
Yes, yes,
it's
yes.
so fun to do. Right now, I'm in my escape room called The Return.
Okay.
It is about it's focused on an African tribe. An artifact has been stolen by an art smuggler, and the players start in the art smuggler's office trying to find that artifact. And then in the second room, which is here with all of the lights on, it's a
Uh-huh.
little more dark and mysterious with the lights down. But here they're going to perform the ceremony of return, which through my research I learned is a real thing, and help return the artifact back to the tribe so that the tribe can continue to exist. Without it, a big part of their culture was missing. And so the tribe was sort of dying off. And I just thinking back to the theme, escape rooms and game designers have such an opportunity to tell unique stories that
Right.
haven't been told. I'm in Houston, a large Black population here, but yet I was looking around at the escape rooms and there was nothing that spoke to maybe culture or history. And so, again, that's something for people to keep in mind. There are new ways to tell existing stories or new
Mm-hmm.
stories altogether. I'm thinking of a ramen room because
A
like,
ramen
hello,
room?
why not? Right.
What?
My daughter loves ramen. Ramen stands are super interesting. You can look those up online. They're called yatais. That's Yatai. And it's just a little ramen cart. And
Wow.
I saw that and I was like, there's endless possibilities. And so, in addition to helping bring teams of people together and families together, I want people to be seen in their entertainment. I don't
Right.
want people to feel like, yet another pirate room. Like, no, let's hear about this African tribe. Let's
Right.
hear about
The
this
relatability.
traditional cultural food. Yeah, absolutely.
So
Because escape rooms are for everyone.
exactly. And on that note, because again, there are ways to teach people things, there are ways to tell stories. Do you have any quick ideas? And shout out to herself who put this chat. Any ideas of how we could probably like make engineering be integrated? Just off the top of your head. Obviously, I know I'm putting you on the spot, but like, how can we make engineering something that people feel a part of, but also not feel like it's school, right? Like, we don't want it to feel like school. I got my pop quiz right today when you asked me about the battery, but we don't want everybody to feel like they're in the middle of a pop quiz the whole time.
I think engineering is incorporated when you have people do obvious things like complete circuits. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that's as simple on the back end of using a hall sensor that detects the presence of magnets.
Yeah.
So, for example, I have a little orange juice here. I could have a hall sensor here in this notebook. The magnet is in the orange juice, and the player, quote unquote, plugs in, right? And now they've completed the circuit. That could trigger a light somewhere else. So the back end of it, it might not seem like engineering focused, but for the players on the front, they think that they've completed a circuit. They have
Boom.
plugged a wire into a thing. They see the impact, the outcome in the room somewhere else,
Right.
and they feel that they have built something, that they have created something. I'm personally not a trained engineer. I'm self-taught and formal. So I know engineering field altogether is really huge, but I think just allowing people to feel like they're building something in the game. One of my games, we had to build a mini satellite.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we weren't literally building a satellite, but we had to follow
That was
instructions. We
yeah,
had
yeah.
little things. And in the end, we got it all together and it made us sound like it was sending a signal into space. Hello, we felt like astronauts on the moon. We did
Exactly.
that.
That's the immersive experience that we're all going for. And when you said the phrase, chat, I don't know if y'all heard it. Karmisha said the key phrase, building something. In other words, building stuff. That's what we're all about right here on Nova, building stuff. That's what we've been doing here on this Twitch channel. And Karmisha, I just want you to know on behalf of everybody in the chat, as they're dropping their love, you all drop your emotes, your emojis, your thank yous to Karmisha. That is exactly what we're doing. And that's exactly what you have taught us about. You say you're not a trained engineer. That's all right. I think the process that you just walked us through, Karmisha, is in fact escape room engineering. And so we want to give you a round of applause, a huge thank you for letting us know into your world. I already know that next time we have you in this form, hopefully it's going to be Dr. Karmisha Reeb, right? That's what we're going to be talking about, right? The owner, yes, the creator of Escape Lab Houston. Thank you so much. Y'all drop some love and appreciation. Karmisha, any final words of like just wisdom, advice before we say goodbye?
The main message is that everyone can do STEM. We all have a STEM identity. Some people do more than others, but we all have the capability of building cool things. Mm-hmm. And I just encourage people to just give it a shot. Maybe it'll work out, maybe it won't, but you'll definitely learn something in the process.
Maybe it will, maybe it won't. It's all about experimentation. Y'all show some love to Karmisha. We're super happy to have had you on the stream today. And we're going to be back to you all tomorrow playing our game Factorial. We're going to try to close this thing out with a nice working factory, if you will. For those who hung out with us in the past, it's been a journey on this abandoned island that our space vehicle crashed on. That game, we're all trying to get the power back going in our factory. So we're going to be doing that tomorrow, continuing into next week where we have, I want to tell y'all, we have some pretty awesome guests next week. If you thought Karmisha was good, we're going to stay at that level, which is already high, and continue to push the boundaries here. So thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Thank you, Karmisha. Thank you to everybody, both on YouTube, and you already know our friends at the Twitch in the building committee. We're going to say peace to you all. Wave from me and Karmisha. Karmisha's giving a nice peace as we say goodbye. And we'll catch you all next time right here, same time, same place, on Building Stuff with Nova. Until then, keep building, y'all. Peace.